Hi, my name is Basim Zafar, and my project is about examining Connecticut bats post-white nose syndrome. White nose syndrome is an invasive fungal species from Europe and has been confirmed in at least 31 U.S. states and 5 Canadian provinces. The fungus that causes WNS is called Pseudomonas destructans. White nose syndrome affects bats mainly during hibernation. They get aroused more, and the fat supply gets depleted, and they have water imbalance, and it eventually causes death. You can tell if a bat has white nose syndrome because they have a white growth near their muzzle. According to a study by Christopher Wisniewski, white nose syndrome has approximately a mortality rate of 90% and has killed close to 6.7 million bats. If there are no conservation efforts to stop this, bat species will eventually go extinct. This makes it a very large wildlife epidemic. This study will observe bats in their natural habitats in parks all across Connecticut, such as Sleeping Giant State Park in Hamden and Bluff Point State Park in Groton. This study will be conducted with both Professor Miranda Dunbar and a graduate student, Christopher Wisniewski. They are both from SCSU, or Southern Connecticut State University. They have done other studies involving bats in WNS. Chris wrote a journal article that gave a broad overview of the history of WNS and its effects so far. This year's study will act as a baseline study for other researchers to compare their data to. Also, changes in species distribution and habitat use will be better outlined. The bats will be observed using passive acoustic monitoring, which will record the bat's call. From the bat's call, number, species, and the behavior can all be determined. The acoustic equipment will be set so it turns on at sunset, and then it stays on throughout the night until sunrise. It will be left at a park for a couple of days overnight, and we also will try to camouflage the equipment so passerbys don't fiddle with it and then mess it up, because that could disrupt the recording and skew the data. If another suitable location is found in the same park, then the equipment will be set up there. Bat habitats such as forests, marshes, lakes, caves will all be observed. Also, this data will be compared to pre-white nose syndrome data. Not all of the data can be compared to it because there's not quite enough historical data, but the data that can be compared will be. Hopefully, with this study, the impact of WNS can be shown better, and the bat calls will be analyzed using Sonobat software, which can take the recordings and then tell us what bats were there and for how long and at what times. This study will help aid future conservation efforts and hopefully help preserve bats. Thank you for watching.